It is now just turned 14 minutes to 9. Stop excluding pupils, even those that behave badly. That is the call being made by Southwark Council in South London. It is advocating what it calls a 100% inclusion approach to behaviour in schools and colleges in its area, the first such policy in the country. Now, it is not, as some suggested, and indeed some newspapers reported, a bar on schools excluding, expelling or suspending a pupil, but it is a call on heads and principals to allow even misbehaving pupils to remain as long as they don't put another child's safety at risk, and that makes it controversial. Let's discuss the value of it with Jasmine Ali, who is Deputy Leader of Southwark Council and the Cabinet Member for Children, Young People and Schools, and with Tom Bennett, who's an Independent Behaviour Advisor for the Department of Education. Morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, Jasmine, as I made clear, you're not excluding the possibility of exclusion. Schools could still do it. But you are making a big statement. You want to change the way things are done, and why so?
Well, we're making a statement. If I may, I'll just start at the beginning. And that is, in 2018, we just saw that the trend, was really rising. We had 49 exclusions. Now, that's quite a lot of children. So we basically had a strategy to deal with this, and we work with all the partners on the safeguarding board, and we work with all of the schools, and we've been doing well, actually, because I want to say we don't need a charter to do good work, because we have reduced that number now. That is now, we're not quite single figures, but there's now 10 children that have been excluded. Now, what is it we're saying? We're doing brilliant work together, and this charter that I launched, well, when I say launched, we agreed it at Cabinet, so the Council agreed it on Monday. Mm-hmm. And what 24 hours we've had, because I wouldn't have thought this would have been so controversial. But actually, all we're saying, for people who want to read it, is the Southwark Inclusion Charter. Now, listen carefully. Our aspiration is for 100% inclusion of children in education that keeps them safe and enables them to flourish. But for some reason, the media have gone absolutely crazy.
Well, let's not rely on the media. Let's see what Tom Bennett, who knows a lot about this, thinks about the idea. Tom, I think Jasmine's saying it's basic common sense, is it?
Yeah. Some of it is and some of it isn't, and without wishing to be disrespectful, I mean, since 2012, the exclusion rate in Southwark has been lower than the national average. So there was 1 year which was an outlier. So I don't recognise that there was a huge problem going on in Southwark. And secondly, what the Charter clearly states is that for any behaviour short of the most extreme behaviours like, knife crime and so on, that schools should probably consider not excluding. Now, that sounds fine in principle, but there's lots of misbehaviours short of criminality, which absolutely harrow and ruin the life chances of children in schools. And, all children have got the right to a safe, dignified learning environment, which is calm, and staff do too. And exclusions are a necessary part of that process.
Are you fearful, in other words,
we may
Tom,
not wish to exclude children. It's a necessary thing to do.
And are you fearful that if a council, as it were, pressuриses its schools not to do it, that one or two pupils could ruin education for many hundreds of them?
Well, this is what we've seen already. I mean, in the past, previously, schools were harrowed and pilloried by people like Ofsted, for example, for not excluding when they should have been excluding. And because of that pressure, schools can make erroneous decisions and say, well, maybe we shouldn't exclude a child, who then would be denied access to the provision that they may well need, and that other children in the school and the staff as well will then be exposed to days and days and days of indignity and harassment.
Forgive me, we're not enormous amounts of time because we've been talking about the future Prime Minister. But Jasmine, just reply to Tom's worries that in your keenness, as it were, to get people and keep them in education, you may be ruining education for lots of others.
Look, I've just got to come back in case I run out of time. And that is, Tom, you've got more influence than me. I'm disappointed. We'll keep the dialogue going on because children have a fundamental right to a good education. Now, a child facing exclusion has an unmet need. And this is what is so brilliant about this inclusion charter, because when I spoke to schools, they would say to me, look, because of your team and the council, we're having to press the nuclear button of exclusions. It's quite an emotional thing to tell a child that you don't want them in their school. They don't have to do that now because we are wrapping around with all our experts from children and adolescent mental health, from early years, from youth justice team, and we are all there holding their head
We've got the message of the Inclusion Charter, Jasmine Ali. Thank you very much for spelling it out for us, and some of the worries too coming from Tom Bennett there. Thank you.